Okay, time to continue the 11 o'clock turn with an allied activation this time. I've chosen to activate Ligonier and his wing here. I think I will also activate all the Dutch and English artillery over here. Now I think the point of this tactic was to move these guys up into firing position using prolonged movement. So an unlimbered artillery like this cannot usually move, but these guys have this P ability, or FP, fire and prolong, so they can move 1 hex, and these guys can even move 1 hex after firing. But I've checked the tables, and it looks like the multipliers to fire at this range here, the results that you can get are really, well, there's basically no point in firing yet. So I think I will just move these guys up 1 hex, and a lot of these also just have P, so they can't fire anyways. So I'll just move everything up, continue to move the artillery up, and here in the forest, I think I will start making an attack here and see what I can exploit over here. The cavalry charge left a gap here, which I might be able to exploit. So I'll just move all of these units now. Okay, so I think this unit here, I did some disorder recovery and it didn't go all that well. This unit was still shaken disorder, so I think he will just stay there. This guy managed to become just shaken, so there are no units that are out of command at this point. So here I can illustrate the optional rule of reactive movement. Now these guys probably want to attack this line here. So the allied line goes here. This is an English unit, this is a guard here. And I think this guy will want to move up into the flank of this unit here. Now, when a unit enters a hex, or is about to enter a hex, that is 3 hexes away from a cavalry unit or 2 hexes away from an infantry unit, according to this optional rule that we are using in this game, the units can react. So as this unit moves up here, I think this cavalry unit actually wants to back up here. Now this will be a disorder check with, this costs a cavalry line, it costs them 3 to go into woods normally, and backing up into woods costs 4. So this will be a disorder check with plus 40 because it's a reaction move. And it can't react further to this unit's movement. So I think that's probably the best anyways for this unit. So I'll go ahead and roll for disorder here. Plus 40 on the effectiveness rating, and they are disordered. Now this unit still has a movement, so it's to go into woods with a line. In infantry it's 2. So because it's moved in this direction already, actually, now this is an English unit, yeah. So if it wants to continue to move there, it will have to rapid march, because it's already moved 2. It's already moved 1 in this direction. So normally if you move forward with a line, it has to go zigzag. And this will be sideways, and then it'll have to pay extra here. So this will actually be 3, which brings it up to 5 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And well, it can't really do much good anywhere else right now. Although I guess it could still try to move there. No, I think I will try to push them through this way. So 3, 4, 5, 6 actually, because it's into zone of control. So from these units, so I have to roll disorder for this guy. So +5 for rapid march and +5 for passing one non-clear terrain, so +10. And it's a special result. So in the end they made the disorder check, was a reroll with -5 because these were quite good units, so they managed to sneak up there without becoming disordered. This guy here is in march column. You can see that it's not facing a hex point, it's facing a hex side. And when you change from march column to line, you consult this formation change diagram, and you can see that if you want to turn directly to the left, the cost for the English units, which is this red here, is only 1 movement point. Whereas if you change to a line to the right, then you pay 3. But we want to face upwards, so he actually just pays 1 movement point for that. So I will rotate him, change the formation into line. 1, 2, 3, 4. I will be in good position to exploit this gap that I'm hoping to create now. Now I wonder what to do with these guys, because when they move they will receive quite heavy, or they can receive quite heavy opportunity fire from these artillery pieces over here. One idea would be to, I actually moved this guy, even though he's shaken, I moved him up here to this line, because he will make it so that these units are now in a supported line. They have friendly units on both sides, so they will gain a bonus to their morale. I think it's -10 to their efficiency rating when you check for morale. So these guys won't be able to do any close combat, but they provide this supported line bonus here. Now what I could do is actually, I could try to do something like this and also attack this cavalry here, but I don't know. Then I will be fired upon by these guns later, so maybe it's better to just move up like that and form a hook. I think I will do that, and then so this is 1, and when it exits this hex they have the opportunity to fire here, which they will do. And since they have already fired this this turn, they will have a -5 on their die roll. This is also an optional rule that we're using, so otherwise usually they have free opportunity to fire and can fire as many shots as they want. They can still do that, but they get -5 for each consecutive shot that they make. Okay, so they were lucky. They got a special results. Heavy smoke, which in the end didn't do any damage at all. So they are free to move in here. That's 1 movement point. And now I will use one movement point to form a hook, and they can fire again. So they got a disorder check result, which the English unit passed. This is Johnson's foot. They passed that, so no problem to go up there and form a hook. So this is what it looks like after movement. These two guns managed to finally get some result. They got one strength point loss here and one on Ponson Biz battalions, but they managed to move up and they managed to pass both their morale check and disorder check. So now I'll just place some close combat markers. In case you have some high odds attacks here, this stack is just 3 strength points and disordered. This is 2 units attacking one very depleted unit from Claire's regiment brigade. So and over here these two attack this unit here, so 2-to-1 attack here, and of course these two attacking this cavalry stack here. So it looks pretty good for the English right now. We'll see what happens. Everything can happen in close combat, it seems like, in this game. And note also that all of these attacks here have the benefit of having supported line, because in their flank hexes they have either non-clear terrain or friendly units. So they all have this advantage. This is an English unit. This is the guard unit here, so it's not in a flank hex here, or well, it is, but it's not enemy unit. Whereas this guy here is actually enfiladed, will get a negative or a worse morale because of being enfiladed here, even though this unit is not attacking. So all of them actually passed their morale checks except this one. And these two actually rolled very low, but because of the supported line -10, they actually passed, and also the woods -5. So I think they rolled like 15, both of these guys, but they still passed their morale check. So there will be a lot of close combats here. And first we do the defensive fire after the attacker morale check. We now designate the individual combats. So these two will attack this unit, which is in a 2x line. These two units will attack this stack. These two units will attack this unit. And this guy will attack this guy. But there are defensive fire. Here we have defensive fire. This is infantry. Here we have this defensive fire. But otherwise they're all attacking cavalry. Now normally both these cavalry units could retreat before close combat, which would be a good option here, because they are kind of outnumbered. Maybe not these guys, but they are disordered, so neither of them can actually do a retreat before close combat. I think the way it is that cavalry can retreat before close combat when being attacked by infantry, and light cavalry can retreat before close combat if they're being attacked by infantry or heavy cavalry. But in this case, since they are disordered, they cannot do that. So now we have the defender morale checks for each individual battles. We'll start over here. So this hook formation here is a 2x line. It's in 4 ranks, so it can only fire from each hex with 3 strength points. And in this case they have 4 strength points here and 3 strength points there. But they can only fire out with 3 in each, and they can only fire with a full power into either this hex. I think this guy can fire in the full in these two. So this hex can fire with 3 here, whereas this can only fire either 3 here, 2 here, or 2 there. So if it fires 2 there and this fires 3 there, then we get a 5 strength point into this hex, and multiplied by 3 for the French at 1 hex range, that's 15, and the Woods close combat or fire defense value is 15. So it's a 1-to-1 attack for the French to defensive fire if they both fire here. Both hexes fired there. 21, that's no effect, I'm quite sure. So then we go to the close combat. And they did pass their defender morale check here, by the way. So we ended up with a M result here. So both have to take a morale check. And I think the French have the worst efficiency rating. They have 28 and the English have 21 and 23. And now for M results in close combat, there are basically almost no modifiers. You don't add the terrain morale, not the supported line. It's basically only the armor morale or the leader modifiers that apply here. So the French 28, and they pass. Sorry, it's actually the attacker that checks first. But the French, they already passed this time, but and the attacker has to roll individually for each stack that is attacking. So this guy passes, and the next one routes away. Okay, that's not good for the English. So now we roll again. Now it's a 1-to-1, and the French have this. There's a gentle slope going here through these woods here, so they get -2, or they get +2 for defending in woods, and the attacker gets a -1 for this slope here as well. It's another M result. And this time we do it the right way. So start with the attacker, and they pass, and the French 20, they fail. So they contract and rout away. I guess they will contract here actually, because there are less but then they can't. I think they can route here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they will just route away this way then. So this guy has to take a morale check as well. But he passes. And for failing this morale check, you take 1 step loss, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. You take 1 step loss. And you're routed. And these guys have to rout away as well. This close combat is over. These guys also take a step loss and rout away. And now we do this close combat here. So the result was 1 and disorder on the attacker and 1 and rout on the defender. Now these guys, when they rout away, they're gonna bump into a lot of routed units here. Yeah, so this guy will go through here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this stack will rout again. and this dike will route again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, and this guy routes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the newly routed one. Okay, this is the end of the close combat. So the Irish unit was completely eliminated. These guys, they just took 1 step loss, and these guys managed to take 1 step loss. This is one of Churchill's battalions, and it routed this cavalry. The disordered cavalry didn't have a lot of chance, so it just routed away and took, I think it was 2 strength points, additional strength points. Yes, actually it was 2, so there should be a 5 there, and not a 4. And I'm running out of routed markers. You can see that we're starting to get quite a lot of routed units all over the map, and it looks like the Allies actually have managed to get quite a large gap here. Let's see what happens next here. So that's the end of Ligonier's activation, and we roll for initiative again.